Hello and welcome our beloved viewers to RTD's News English Edition. Today for the highlights we got signing of contract for the construction of the first storage terminal in the Marjok Industrial Park, the closing of the training of young recruiters of the Djiboutian Armed Forces, and on the international scene, vaccinate faster to get out of the crisis. Those were the headlines for tonight. Welcome again to our newsroom. As usual, you will follow the special edition dedicated to the election campaigns immediately right after this news, with our colleague Ghasira Ali joining us on the other side. So, Kasi, where are the headlines of the day for the conduct of the campaign for the presidential election between our two candidates?
Thank you, Dini. Well, the leading stories of this edition are the thematic day. The candidate of UMP had a thematic meeting with the women of the country where he emphasized the socio-economic promotion, empowerment of women in order to make women a vector of growth, as well as the outgoing president, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, had a thematic meeting with young winners of the national robotic competition organized by the Center for Leadership and Entrepreneurship from April 2 to 4 at the state high schools of Djibouti.
Thank you, Kasi, and we will follow you right after this news. The Independent National Electoral Commission organized this morning a training for the benefit of delegates of agents for the polling stations. More than 50 students in law degree of the University of Djibouti participated in training given by judges. The objective of this training is to familiarize the students with the concepts, tools, and procedures required in the administration of elections. Also, how to set up the voting environment both inside and outside the office. Also, the delegates will have to master the voting operations such as the reception of the voter, verification of his identity of his card, and on the lists. Moving on, the chairman of Ports and Free Zones Authority, Mr. Obakar Umar Hadi, signed this morning with the Somega Group, represented by the CEO, Mr. Roger, the contract for the construction of the first storage terminal in the Damarjok Industrial Park. This project, the first of several other storage terminals for both refined and crude oil, will have a capacity of 1,500 M3 in the first phase. It is also part of the development of the vertical complex in Damarjog, consisting of the oil jetty, refineries, and storage areas. Eventually, it is planned to develop at least four other storage terminals for a total capacity of more than 750,000 M3, serving the transit of products but also trade in the region and banking to ships. It should be noted, moreover, that the project will be delivered in a little less than 24 months. The president of the Port and Free Zone Authority, Mr. Bakar Umar Hadi, had a meeting yesterday morning with the Japanese ambassador to Djibouti, His Excellency Mr. Utsaka Umo, and the ambassador of Djibouti to Japan, His Excellency Mr. Ahmed Arayt Ali. This meeting is a naturally part of the regular constitutions of the ambassador with the chairman of the Authority of Port and Free Zones Authority to discuss on large-scale projects in areas for the social economic development of our country. At the heart of the exchange between the two parties, several issues of common interest were exchanged, including port infrastructure, free zones and renewable energy in Djibouti, as well as other investment opportunities of Japanese companies with strong economic and commercial potential. Mr. Otsuka Imo stressed that Japan has been providing its unfailing support to the Djiboutian people for several years now and that the areas of cooperation are varied, affecting several sectors including capacity building, renewable energy, environmental energy, maritime security to eradicate the scourge of maritime piracy, rehabilitation of strategic infrastructure, and transport with the provision of ferries. And for his part, the ambassador of Djibouti in Japan, Arayt Ahmed Ali, said that these have been significant advances in the field of infrastructure in recent years under the leadership of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, and recalled the long-standing friendship between the two countries. Mr. Hadi emphasized the importance of the reconstruction project of the section of the RN1 to the border of Agalafi, funded by Japan through the International Development Agency, JICA. The place of the report of the Technical and Technical Training Center built within the camp Sheikh Usman hosted this Tuesday, April 6, 2021 at 6:30 a ceremony of completion of training of young recruits of the Djiboutian Armed Forces. Following the recruitment of young nationals who joined the ranks of the Djiboutian Armed Forces, it was crucial to begin their military training. Thus, more than 200 trainers from different corps and foundations of the ADF have been distributed in the different training centers of the Djibouti garrison to bring their specialized technical training. In total, more than 8 specialties organized in a centralized format, including, among other, officer elimination, administration, signals, driving vehicles, specific training to the armored, such as investigation, and barkery, were honored this day. Chaired by the Chief of General Staff of the Armed Forces, Lieutenant General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, this ceremony was attended by the Chief of Defense Staff, Brigade General Tahir Ali Muhammad, and the highest officials of the Djiboutian Armed Forces. Still in the framework of the fight against COVID-19, the barrier gestures were strictly respected, namely the washing of hands at the entrance of the buildings, the compulsory wearing of the mask, and the social distancing. On arrival, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, accompanied by General Tahir Ali Muhammad, was welcomed by Colonel Dahir Hassan, commander of the Armored Regiment. Then, the Semga carried out the review of the troops composed exclusively of the trainees of the 8 professional formations and of a section of the female personnel of the armies to return the honors. These training courses, the first cycle of technical training for the year of 2021, lasted 4 months each and allowed to consolidate the achievements of the trainees and to further improve their provision of specialties through the acquisition of new knowledge. The family photo closed this colorful and joyful ceremony.
مسومتانا عند عيبي عند عيبي مسومتانا سبات تنجلي سبات.
As part of the fight against illicit trade, the Djiboutian Customs proceeded this morning to seize and stamp products intercepted by soldiers of the Repeat Intervention Battalion. Based in Alione, the cargo was discovered and seized during routine missions in difficult-to-access areas located a few dozen kilometers from the border with neighboring Somaliland. The cargo consisted of more than 30 cartons of Royal and Benson marked cigarettes, as well as pharmaceutical and cosmetic products. The commander of the Repeat Intervention, Colonel Mahmoud Asawi, handed over the illicit goods to a team of customs officials, including Mr. Yahya Musa, head of the Customs Division of Arta District. On this occasion, the head of the missions that took place, Mr. Yahya Muhammad, emphasized the Djiboutian Customs of Arta region in close cooperation with the military and security forces of our country, that they will spare no effort to fight against illegal goods undermining the economy of our country. Mr. Yahya Musa, head of the Customs Divisions of Arta District, congratulated the soldiers of the Rapid Intervention Battalion despite their busy schedule, especially in terms of training for peacekeeping missions in the countries of the region. The elements of the BER and their headed, Colonel Muhammad, will spare no effort to support us in the fight against illicit trade traffic. Now, sports. In the soccer team of the Coast Guard, champion of the 3rd Division of the National Championship, in the evening of 5th of April 2021, was held under the auspices of the President of the Djiboutian Football Federation, the final of the championship of the 3rd Division in the enclosure of the Municipal Stadium, between the team of Haj Dide and the team of the Coast Guard in the National Technical Center for Municipal Field. An intense match was full of rebound opposed the two teams which will play in the higher division, 2nd Division next year. However, in the last 10 minutes of the match, while we were heading towards a draw, the playmaker of the Coast Guard has sealed the fate of the match with a magic return to give the advantage of the Coast Guard a few minutes later. After a well-constructed action, the number 10 made the score more salty and definitely nullified the hopes of Hajdide's team to come back in the game. This team is like the Coast Guard that started from nothing to reach the top in a very short time. It is also worth noting the contextual history of this team that has achieved an exceptional feat by winning the championship in first year of its participation, with the key to a tournament without defeat. Our sincere congratulations to the players, the coach, and the technical and administrative staffs who realized the course without fault by flying over the championship of the 3rd Division with a lot of quality, regional professionalism, and discipline. The historic victory is also that of Colonel Wais Omar Bogore, commander of the Coast Guard, who has invested a lot in this project and has a very distant and ambitious vision for this young team. He also made a point of stressing in his brief speech that this title was only a step towards underlining essence Continue to make us dream and continue to make us vibrate with your magical talents. After the victory of the soccer team of the Coast Guard, which becomes champions of the third division, they celebrated. The ceremony was attended by the president of the Soccer Federation, Mr. Hassan Wabir Suleiman, and the commander of the Coast Guard, Colonel Wais Omar Boghore, and the officials of Hajj Dide. Cups and medals were given to the days and staff of the Coast Guard team, the champion of the third division in the team of Hajj Dide. Below, we listen to the reactions of the responsible players and colonel of the Coast Guard. Shifting gears towards the internationals now, last chance negotiations began on Sunday in the Democratic Republic of Congo between Ethiopia, which is defending its Nile Renaissance system, and Egypt and Sudan, which are hostile to the project. Ethiopia, Egypt, and Sudan resumed negotiations on Sunday, 4th April, in Kinshasa in the Ethiopian mega dam on the Blue Nile. This hydraulic project is presented as virtual by Addis Ababa and preserved as a threat by Cairo and Khartoum. These negotiations represent the last chance that the three countries must seize to reach an agreement, said Egyptian Foreign Minister in remarks to the Egyptian media. This agreement should allow to fill and operate the Renaissance Dam in the coming months and before the next rainy season, he added. The situation remains critical in the intensive care units in France, which are receiving over more than patients. 5,400 people were intensive care. According to the latest report, compared to 3,600 a month ago, given the high rate of new infections, this figure will continue to rise in the coming weeks. According to the Health Minister Oliver Amiran, France could be approaching the peak of the first wave a year ago with more than 7,000 patients were in intensive care. That was it for tonight's news, our beloved viewers. Thank you for joining us and make sure to stick around for the election campaign's news up next with our colleague Qasira Ali. Thank you and have a good night.